Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter and have the pleasure of welcoming Amy Cleary Photography to the program. Thanks, Amy, for jumping on this thing.
You're welcome. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
Hey, everybody. This is not Amy's first podcast in life, so you
No,
probably
no,
have more experience than I do,
baby.
maybe. But anyway, thanks for taking the time. I know you're probably pretty busy, so for the people that don't know who you are, like, what do you want people to know about you?
Um, well, the first thing is I want people to know that um, I am a girl and I am a photographer.
Right?
Yeah, and even though I do boudoir photography, that's not all that I do because I
Okay.
find
Right.
boudoir photographers like myself, we
Hmm.
we get put in a box
Mm,
and then nobody really sees that we can do other things. If
I
that makes
see.
sense.
Sure. And what box is that?
Um, so I'm female, so it's a little bit different for me. But
Mhm.
I was accused of being lesbian.
Right. By
I was
who?
accused. Oh, I'm not going to say who, but um, boudoir photographers, no matter their gender, are always
Mhm.
labeled as creeps
Mhm.
or obsessed with women, and
Mhm.
that's really not. It's not our
Mm.
jam. That's not who we are.
Right.
Right? We just want people to feel comfortable and be um, and able to self express themselves.
Right.
Like the Madonna song.
Right.
Um, yeah.
So if someone asks you if someone asks you what is boudoir photography, like what do you tell them?
So, do you want me to start at the very beginning?
Yeah, start at the beginning. Why not? Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So, so in the 19th century,
Okay.
when women first got the right to vote, women kind of were a little bit rebellious. Because you have to remember, this is right after the Victorian era when everything was like, can't show some ankle,
Mm.
scandalous. So,
Right.
boudoir began in France,
Mhm.
and it began as a way for women to say, fuck you.
Mhm.
So,
To who?
to men, to
Ah.
just everybody, to
Ah.
society, because
Ah.
they had just so it started there, and it actually started with these women taking photos of themselves in their bedroom. So they were
Really? Eh?
lounging. Yeah, so they were in loungers and they were showing their ankles, and that's why boudoir is called boudoir because it's the French word for bedroom. So now moving through history, it's kind of evolved into something, we
Right.
show a little bit more skin than um, the
Really?
ankle.
Eh?
But yeah,
Okay.
um,
So,
you
so
go
what does
ahead.
it so what does it mean to you then?
It's freedom.
Right.
It's freedom of expression. It's it's self-esteem building.
Mm.
Um, it's it's kind of it's a way for women to rebel,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
right? Um, but it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, like when did you when did you get started in it?
So I have always been a photographer, and when
Yeah.
I was younger, I had a couple of guy friends,
Right.
and we were at that age where Playboy was a thing, and I fell in love with what Playboy was presenting.
Mm,
Not because of the, I'm attracted to these women, but just how they were able to express themselves.
right.
And in that moment, I wanted to do that. I
Mm,
wanted to take those pictures. And that's why I kind of built up my skill set, and that's why I do what I do now.
right. Do you wanna shoot for Playboy?
I do
Is
actually. I want to work for Playboy, and I want to work for
right,
Hustler.
right. They're still around, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Playboy
just
actually just they just announced that they're going to be doing print issues.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, David. Print
Hey,
so
David.
did they stop the print?
Yeah, so when Hugh Hefner, right before he
Right,
died, he stepped
right,
down,
right.
and one I forget which child of his took over, but
Mm,
one of them took over, and then there was the whole bankruptcy.
yeah,
Um, so they stopped printing. But
right.
now, but whoever is running it now, they brought it back.
Really, eh? That's interesting. It's
I
amazing that
would
they're still around, really, like, it really is.
sex sells.
I guess, eh? Like, it's such a different world from, like, 50 years ago, Like, it's so much more accessible,
It is.
you know?
Um, it's a very yeah. With you would think with like access to um, what's available online, you wouldn't think that they'd be able
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Interesting. So, people may wanna get into boudoir, but, like, how does one start? Like, what's the process? Like, is there a process? Is it an etiquette? Is there certain types of conversation that has to be had before?
Yes.
Yeah,
So the first thing that I would suggest to any photographer is know your basics. Know how to light somebody up. Know how to
right,
exposure.
right,
Know how to like I can pick up my camera right now and go,
right. Because you know.
right? Because
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
But that comes from experience.
right,
Um, so you have to be able to do that. That's the first thing. The
right,
next thing is you have to be able to talk to people
right. And how do you do
because
that? 'Cause it's such a different kind of
practice.
shoot, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah, but you have to practice. Like you have to be confident, and
right,
confidence comes from knowing your shit,
right,
right?
right.
So, um, what I how I started was I had a friend of mine, and she was a stripper,
Mhm.
and I was actually I'm gonna restart this. We're friends now, and
Right.
she was a stripper, but I met her because of another friend of mine who worked at the strip club.
Mm.
So we got introduced, and I went to her and I said, "Hey, I want to be a boudoir photographer.
Yep.
Um, I know how to expose everything, but I don't. I'm a little bit lost in how I get started. Can you help me?"
Right. You're being honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell on my sword a little bit, and she laughed at me.
Oh, she did.
She did laugh at me,
Like a good
and
laugh or a bad laugh?
oh, it was a good laugh
Yeah.
because she was so happy that I was honest with her.
Mm.
And I went to her for help because she's like, I've done these. I know how to pose. I will help you.
Right.
And because I was able to build that relationship, that's how I got experience and I got better.
Uh,
So if you are a new photographer, male or female,
yeah.
find somebody that you can just be honest with and
Mhm.
say, hey, here's what I want to do. I know how to do this,
Mhm.
but I need somebody to model for me.
Yeah. Interesting.
Can you help me? And you'll be very surprised at how many women will be willing to do it when you're honest.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting. But is it different for a girl versus like if a guy asks that, like, is that a different like situation? Like, is that a different
It
conversation?
It is
Yeah.
because there is I'm a woman, right? And
Yeah.
I was very, very lucky that I was able to build off that relationship because of my previous relationship.
Yeah.
So for a male,
Yeah.
find a boudoir photographer in your area
Right. And team up.
and team up and
Right.
ask questions.
Interesting. So find someone more like established.
Yeah,
Right.
right? Like find somebody who knows what they're talking about because if they're like me, they're not gonna care. They're
Right.
just gonna be excited. Oh, you want to learn this? Okay, let's go. Right? Be that assistant. Be
Yeah.
like don't because if you go in there thinking that you know everything,
Mm.
you're just gonna look like an asshole.
Yeah. It's not gonna turn out well.
No,
Yeah.
it's really not.
Yeah. You find that like a lot of people like kind of like make up their skills a little bit
Little
on
bit, yeah,
set. Yeah.
yeah.
Why is
Um,
that, you think?
it's an ego thing.
Ego thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, some people just don't want to admit that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so much to know. Like there's just so much.
Hmm.
You
And
can't put in everything. It's impossible. You always have
that's
a weakness
why
somewhere.
exactly. That's why I always say to people, I will know everything when I'm dead.
Right.
Right?
Great tagline, by the way. Some good merch there.
I so I do not. Funny enough, I don't like talking about myself.
You don't?
No, and I don't.
You
I wouldn't even.
really?
I. It would.
You're like the only person.
I know, but I wouldn't even feel. I wouldn't even feel comfortable walking around with merch or like having people wear that because it's just
Yeah.
so weird to me.
Yeah. Interesting, eh? And why is that? You prefer to let your work like speak for itself kind of thing?
Yeah, because it's
Right.
not about me.
It's not
It's
about you.
about it's about them. It's about whatever is going on in their life.
Right.
You're telling their story. Right?
Yeah, I like that.
And
Um,
I think a lot of younger boudoir photographers or photographers who want to get involved in that, they
yeah.
don't know they can't grasp that. They
Mm.
can't grasp that storytelling stuff. Oh look, it's my stuff.
It's your stuff. It's your gram. Everyone go check out Amy Cleary Photography. You gotta show. I always like showing the work too. Like it's great talking, but like showing it just such a has a different vibe to it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any like favorite photos in the past little while that you want to talk about? Or
I do. So
yeah,
if you scroll down,
yeah.
um, keep
How many
going.
rows? Keep going.
Okay, so see, you can click on the neon pink one.
This one?
Yeah. So this is Madison, and
Okay.
she's a girl who works at this um, strip club in St. John's called the Cotton Club, and she is the most so funny. She's awkward when it comes to photos.
Is that right?
Amazing dancer. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
hands down one of the best dancers ever. But she's awkward when it comes to the camera because she feels a little bit insecure.
Okay.
So the way that I got her to relax for this photo and the rest of them was I would just tell her jokes.
Mm. Break break the ice kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I and we're still friends to this day. I love her to death.
Right.
Um and so now she wants me to get a t-shirt that says the Cotton Club on it
Oh yeah.
because yeah, because she most of my photos are on the Cotton Club Instagram, so
Right.
it's a little bit of a joke, but
I
um,
like that though.
that was it was But that was also a very, very hard place to take photos because
Mm,
all that neon, that's
yeah.
old 90s neon.
Nice. Miami Vice style, eh?
Yeah. So, oh,
So how'd you
oh,
do it? How'd you do it? What's the
I
secret to handle that kind of lighting?
I just had one speed light
Yeah.
and I exposed for the environment and then I just lit her,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Um, it's it's just it again, it just goes back to basics. You expose for your environment, right?
Yeah.
Use your
Sure.
shutter and
Yeah.
um, but all that posing, that's her.
That's her, eh?
That's her.
Well,
I
shout out Madison.
yeah, exactly. I'm really surprised she's not here because normally she
Come on, Madison. Where are you? Color casts are fun with neon, eh?
oh my
No.
David, you have no idea. I love as much as annoying as this was to take photos of, I love neon
Yeah. Well,
for
neon's
the color
cool.
cast.
Yeah, it's cool.
Especially pink.
Pink is cool.
Pink
I
is very
agree.
cool.
I agree with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The other photo of her,
Right.
that one, that's red.
The side?
Yes. So there's actually a red light right
Red
above
light
her.
district. That's funny.
Yeah. Um,
Cool tattoos.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
actually, I think that's either the VIP section
Yeah.
or that's where the dances happen. But I'm not, she would know better than me.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, we went what's really cool was I went to the club before it was even open.
Even better.
So there were, yeah, so we just got to like run around and like
Yeah, you
film
don't have to worry about people, beers, cocktails, all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
and then it's pretty clean, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now everyone's
Um
gonna want to go to a strip club and start shooting people. Don't do that.
don't no.
Don't do that.
Um but do see if you can find a stripper. Seriously. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
But even like
there
even like even like meetups in like the Toronto area, there's a lot of like boudoir type of workshops too that people can find, I find.
I'm doing
If you go
one.
on Meetup, you just type in boudoir, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
So I'm actually doing a boudoir um
Workshop?
workshop. Yeah,
On
but
Meetup?
no, I have it. I'm doing it on Sunday, and I had it on Eventbrite
Oh, on
because
Eventbrite. This Sunday.
yeah,
It was sold
yeah,
out?
it is
Man.
unfortunately. Yeah, but
Man.
it's gonna be. But shout out to everybody who's coming.
So what
It's
are you
gonna
doing?
be. I have a model from Toronto,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna walk through a boudoir session,
From start to
right from
finish?
from start to finish.
Really,
And
eh?
I'm just yeah, and I'm gonna go through because there's certain things that I want to go over. Um, basically, um, one of the main focuses is how to talk to the person that you're taking photos of,
Yeah, I think that's huge, right?
right? Because they're not objects; they're people.
Of course. Of course.
And if we don't communicate, then you don't get this.
Right.
Like that girl in the pink hugging the pillow. Um, I took that photo and I was just, we were just chatting.
Yeah.
That's her name is Natasha. Shout out to Natasha.
Shout out
Um,
Natasha if you're watching listening.
yeah, she's actually so she's from St. John's, but she has family out here,
Okay.
and I don't have them posted. I don't think,
Uh,
but I have other photos of her, and I just sang The Little Mermaid to her.
what when he took that shot?
Not this one, another one.
Okay.
But to get her to laugh and do the hair flip
Right.
that I wanted,
Right.
I just sang The Little Mermaid.
Ah. So what do you
Uh,
like more, like the candid stuff or more the post stuff? Like, what are you trying to get when, like,
so
when you're shooting?
when I do these sessions, I
Yeah.
don't like it when they're overly posed.
And how come?
I give them, so I'll make a suggestion, right? And then they'll pose themselves. And
Yeah.
then I'll say, hey, you know what? What if you did this? Because it would look better.
Right.
Because that way, or if there's something, or if they're really, really nervous and they don't know what they're doing,
Mhm.
I will physically get into a pose and show them what I want.
Ah. Showing versus telling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I find when you break that barrier and you break that ice and you go, and they can see why you want them to do that and
Mhm.
how it looks,
Mhm.
it makes a big difference.
I totally agree.
Because when you are in these intimate situations,
Mhm.
you have to get that person to trust you.
Mm.
And how do you build trust?
Does the trust come in, like, one session? You know what I mean? Like, is it
It does take time,
yeah.
but think of it as somebody coming to your door and selling you something.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so say I'm a salesperson, right?
Yeah.
And I knock on your door and I
Mhm.
go, "Hi, how are
"Hey,
you?"
fine, how are you? What are you selling?"
Okay. Well,
I don't need it.
well, I could say, "My name is Amy, and I'm here on behalf of whatever charity." Right?
Yeah, right.
When you are more, when I show up prepared and I'm confident,
Yeah.
you're more willing to sit there and listen to me than somebody who's stumbling,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And I think so that's how so and that's the intimacy. Then the intimacy part comes in, right? You have to realize these women are half naked,
Mhm,
right? So you not only do you have to think about everything that's going on around you with the lights, technical issues, whatever, but you also have to think about their body language. Are they
mhm,
comfortable?
mhm.
Do they need anything? So you're kind of you're juggling balls,
Yeah,
right?
your mind's all over the place. Camera
Oh,
settings, environment, model. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
it's
not
it's a
even
lot. It's a lot to think about,
it
especially if you're
is.
just one person.
Yep. And and just imagine you're dealing with somebody who's not a model.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? You go to these meetups, these people have it's like their first time, right? So, like, what do you do?
Well, that's why you have to build rapport. You have to start talking
Yeah.
to them.
Is it
Say,
almost
hey,
better to, like, talk outside of the studio and go to a coffee shop and just have, like, a normal conversation?
it can.
Yeah,
It depends on who you're dealing with, right?
right.
Natasha feels comfortable with me, so like I can tell her
Sure.
to put on a potato sack and she'll do it for me.
Yeah,
Um, but if I get an inquiry from a client, say I get one right now,
yeah.
I always tell them to call me. I go,
Okay.
hey, here's my phone number.
Right,
Please call me. Let's just have a chat.
right.
And I find when I have a chat with them and I make myself available to them and I can say, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me. I've heard it all,
Yeah.
right? I find that it's just you're just chiseling away the ice, man. That's all
Mm,
you're doing. And
mm.
preparation. Oh my god.
Is that the
Preparation.
number one thing people kind of fail at?
Yes.
And what do you mean by
Um
that? And what do you mean by preparation? Like, what is
so
it?
so preparation, not just as yourself with your gear. You have to
Yeah.
prep your client.
Okay.
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 So I have a checklist for all of my clients. And
Interesting.
oh, actually, you see, okay, go down. I forgot that I posted it. See that white wall picture of Natasha? Those are the photos that I got her to sing,
Ah,
that I
okay.
sang The Little Mermaid to. But
Nice. Well, it worked.
so I have a contract. I have a Boudoir contract. By
Okay.
the way, every photographer should have a contract. If
Yes.
you take somebody's money,
You need a contract.
you need a contract.
Right.
So I have a contract, and then along with my contract, I have a inquiry form. And what that form is, it asks client, how's your hair gonna look
Oh, yeah?
on the day of the session? What are
Okay.
you gonna wear? Are you gonna bring props?
Hmm.
What kind of mood are you looking for? Do you want dark? Do you want light and
Mm-hmm.
airy?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done this before?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me? How comfortable, like, what is your level of comfortability with this? So when you send those questions up to the client sends it back to you, and you read it,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of gauge, okay, this is what I'm going to do for this session.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm going to bring to the table. I know, like, so if I send out that form to a client and the client fills it out and they say they're not comfortable, I know that
Right.
I have to come in with poses and my game face on. Like, I know that I'm gonna have to, you know,
Right.
I'm not gonna be dealing with somebody who's I'm gonna be dealing with somebody who's never done this before.
Right.
But if they tell me they've done it before,
Mm-hmm.
then I can relax a little bit because they know kind of what they're walking into.
Yeah, interesting.
Um, Also, when you ask your client how their hair is gonna look,
Mm-hmm.
that helps you as the photographer because then you can plan ahead and think of poses,
Right.
right? If they have long hair, they can flip it,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you know what they're wearing and you know what lighting style they want, you can set it up, right? It's all, and
Yeah.
then the other thing that I send my clients is a checklist. And on the checklist, it tells my clients drink lots of water.
Okay, how come?
Because when you drink lots of water, it makes your skin all glowy because you're
Okay.
hydrated.
Right.
The other thing is, I tell my clients to moisturize. Same
Mm-hmm.
reason. It just makes you look good. I always tell my clients to shave 24 to 48 hours before a session
Mm-hmm.
because if you've ever had to edit arm hair,
Yeah,
underarm hair,
I don't want to do that.
no, I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And then the other thing on that checklist is cut the tags from what you are going to wear.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why, they're gonna return them?
Well, if it's something that they like the underwear tag, like when you buy
Just the tag itself. Okay, I understand. I
because
get you. I get you.
have you ever had to edit one of those out in Photoshop?
Right, right. It's about the details, eh?
It's all about the details.
Yeah, I understand. I get you. I get you.
Right?
Mm,
And I find when you provide those three things,
right.
you're telling the client, I'm comfortable and confident in what I'm doing because this stuff works
Yeah.
and I know what I'm at because I'm prepared,
Well,
right?
absolutely. You're sending a checklist out. Jeez.
Yeah, like
This is
I'm
game
saying to
on.
them,
This is game on right here.
yes. Also, when it comes to my sessions, even though it's about the client and it's about what they want, I'm the circus master.
Yeah.
I am the boss. So
Right.
if my session is 2 hours, my session is 2 hours. That's it.
Mm-hmm. There's no like
Um,
210, 220.
no.
What happens if you're just cranking along and you're just like, you're in the flow? You stop?
I do. Yeah,
Really?
I do. Yeah, so I actually have, I have I have my watch, like my phone watch that I normally wear,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it sets off an alarm and it lets me know that
And that's it. You just put the camera down. That's it.
yep. And
Wow.
the clients that I work with, the people that I work with, they respect me so much that they respect my time. So they're
Yeah.
okay with it, right? Because
Right.
when you deal with people, like, doesn't matter what genre of photography you're doing, when you have your prices set to a certain fee
Hmm.
and you have experience and you can show experience and you are prepared,
Yeah.
you may not work as much,
Hmm.
but the people that you work with are on a whole other playing field.
Right.
And you don't have to deal with nonsense, right? People
I
show
like
up. Yeah, like when you show people I'm not messing around,
it.
they don't mess around with you,
Yeah. I like
right?
it. I like it.
And it's I know, and it's tough. So when I say 15 photos, I don't edit more than 15 photos. You can pay me,
Yeah.
but I don't edit more than 15. I
Yeah.
don't do this. So in saying that, when you as a person who, like, say you're looking for somebody to do this type of work,
Hmm.
that's what you need to look for. You need to look for somebody who is, not going to send you 100 photos, right?
Yeah.
Because I find in these situations you have to look for quality.
Quality over quantity, eh?
Yes.
Mm.
Right?
How do you pick?
What do you mean?
How do you pick like the good ones? Like what are you like looking
So,
for?
so when a client inquires with me,
Yeah.
I actually Facebook them
Yeah.
and I look at, I look at their Facebook page, and if for some reason something just doesn't seem right to me,
Yeah.
I don't work with them,
Ah,
and that's okay.
hmm.
And it is.
I
It's
like it. I
okay.
like it.
Yeah,
This
and
is business. This is business now.
yeah, this is business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because especially in these intimate situations,
Right.
because you I you don't know who you're working with, right? You don't know
Mm.
what you're walking into.
Yeah.
And I think, and it goes back to being prepared, right?
Yeah.
Um, Anybody can take a pretty picture now, pretty much. The way camera technology is now, it's not like it
Mm.
was 10 years ago.
Right.
Um, so you need to set yourself up to succeed.
Yeah. It's tough. You
It
got you
is.
got you got AI now. It's a crazy world.
Um, AI is so I'm actually not worried about AI.
Yeah. Neither am I.
Yeah, because
Like,
AI isn't me.
yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. That's not you. I'm paying
Exactly.
Amy to get this work done.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
paying for my
Yeah, you're paying for Amy, not
creative.
for. Yeah, exactly. Like no AI can get the ideas that, like the actual ideas or the concepts or whatever it is, but you're you, I'm me, and that's it. There's no other Paul 2 or Amy 2 or whatever.
Um, Unless they start putting chips in us.
Wow. Who knows when that's coming, but
Hopefully not.
I also add that they don't Dave, I also add that they don't wear tight clothing or underwear as it leaves marks on the skin. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay. So I really like that you brought that up, Dave.
Okay, thanks,
Um,
Dave.
when a client comes to a session of mine, one of the
Yeah.
things on my checklist is
Right.
they don't wear tight clothing to the session.
Mm.
What they wear on the session is up to them.
Interesting.
Yeah, like, because if you've ever, Dave probably knows what I'm talking about, but
Dave, you know. We know you know
if
Dave.
you've ever taken photos of a girl who has taken off her jeans because
Yeah.
she's wearing a bikini,
Yeah.
you get the jean lines.
Right.
Yeah, you stop that from not letting them wear jeans.
These are all like little details that people just don't know until they know, right?
I honestly, some of these little details I didn't know until I started working.
Yeah. I mean, you really have to dive in to really see what the deal is actually with it, you know?
Yep.
It's like, "Oh, how hard can it be?" Meanwhile.
You have no, oh
Yeah.
my God. And
Yeah.
then there's the whole other side of the coin. You have so that's women, then you have men.
Yeah, the worst. Absolute
No,
worst.
no, guys are fun.
Yeah,
They're very different.
sure.
I do have to work on it, so I'm not really that um I haven't really quite I don't think I have enough experience working with men yet.
Yeah. Is that something you wanna get into, though?
It is. I wanna there's actually a photographer on Instagram from Newfoundland and he does
Yeah.
boudoir.
What's his what's the name of the IG?
I don't actually.
I can pull it up. Up to
I
you.
just I got to I just have to check.
Thanks,
Um
Dave.
um
We love Photoshop on this show. Dave, lighting
oh,
is way different for shooting guys. Is that right, Dave?
you know what? Yeah, that is right
Yeah.
because so with lighting with women it's very soft,
Mm,
right? Because but men sometimes you have to be harder,
yeah.
right? And depending on the man, they may not want hard light. They may want soft light,
Maybe.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know what? I cannot think of his Instagram name for the life of me. You'd think I would remember. But anyway,
Should I Google it? Newfoundland
boudoir
boudoir
male. Yeah.
male photographer?
Yep. Um,
Amy Donovan?
oh she's
Eric Bartlett?
yep.
Let's see what's up with Eric Bartlett. It's not
He
really boudoir,
is
though.
No, he's actually a very wonderful glamour photographer from St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I actually know Eric.
Shout out Eric. What a small world that is.
Yeah, Newfoundland's a pretty small place. But yeah, so
Uh,
Eric, so this is mostly like a lot of glamour.
yeah,
Um, but it's similar concepts, right? Like it's all
sure.
lighting, right?
Yeah.
But if you click on that guy picture, scroll down, see that guy. So if you look at his photo and you look
Mhm.
at Madison, their lighting's very similar because it's
Mm,
very soft.
yeah.
I can tell that. I don't know. I'm assuming it's soft. It could be hard light. Now when I'm saying hard light and soft light, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. I'm not sure, like, the
Okay.
audience does.
So just in case anybody doesn't understand what I mean, hard light is when your shadows are more pronounced.
Mhm.
So the transition between light and shadow. Soft light is when the transition is softer.
Mhm.
So your softbox or whatever modifier you're using is closer to your subject.
Right.
And then the further away you pull it, the harder the light. So depending on the situation, I can use both.
Yeah.
Um, it's and those lighting situations, it's all situational,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of boudoir photographers, they use prime lenses.
Mhm.
If you've ever taken photos in a hotel room, you will understand why. Because um, there's always two queen beds,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
no room.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah.
Eh?
Mhm. But
Wow.
yeah. So I normally use a 24.
That's your go-to.
That is my go-to.
That's your
24.
baby, eh?
That is my baby.
Yeah.
Yep. I have so and it's actually an EF lens.
Okay.
I'm using a mirrorless camera, but I
Yeah.
have it. Yeah, I know. Shout out to Canon's EF lenses.
We love Canon on this show too.
Oh, I'm such a
I'm trying to
Canon.
get them to sponsor us eventually. How many Canon users have been on here?
Probably more than Sony users.
It
Oh,
is. It is actually.
um,
But I'm not saying. I'm just saying that's just fact. But
um, yeah. Well, that's a good thing because
yeah.
I keep so I've always been told that I should leave Canon and I should go to Fuji or
Yeah.
I should go to Nikon, but I
Uh,
just can't do it.
Dave's Nikon or mom, yeah. All Dave. Right. Whatever gets the job done is my motto. Whatever gets it done. Whatever gets the client happy, gets you paid. Doesn't matter. Don't
Exactly.
care.
Yeah, like I think the first camera I ever took a photo on was a Canon Rebel
That's how
T6.
everybody starts. Yeah, everybody starts there. But that's just how it is. That's just like you can't just, you can't jump into like an R8 right off the bat. It's like, what am I even doing? You don't even know how to drive a car yet.
What's so funny is the beginner groups when their partner, whomever, buys them an R8 and
Yeah.
then they say that it's not working and they
Yeah.
want to sell it.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like first learn how to drive. Learn how to drive first, and then you can kind of move up if you need it, if the business, if you're making money, if you're getting clients or whatever the need is. But if you actually need it versus want, I always find the needing is different than the wanting.
Yes.
If you actually need something because of a certain feature or whatever, right? But
But what feature would you actually need? Like
I don't
I
know. Right?
right? Like I'm not gonna lie. The eye focus on an R6.
Yeah.
Mwah. But I am not shackled to that eye focus.
Yeah.
Like I would be able to pick up my other cameras and still have in focused images.
Yeah. It's
Does
important.
that make sense?
It's important. Yeah. Sure.
Um, yeah, but does anybody out there in the universe have questions? Like I feel like I'm rambling.
No, no, it's good. My thing is like, like what do you want to get better at this year? Like, do you have something that you want to get better at this year? That
Wow, that's a question.
yeah, because I always find it interesting
Um,
what people want to get better at.
well, I'm constantly learning. Um, one of the things that I want to work on, like I said, is I want to do more male boudoir.
Yeah,
The other thing is I need to get better at marketing.
is that right? Interesting. It's a whole different skill set.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm from as I said earlier, I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland, and Newfoundland is a very small place.
hmm,
Everybody knows everybody.
yeah,
So I never had trouble finding a client because one person would network with the other person
hmm,
and it's just a domino effect.
hmm,
Now that I'm in Ontario, I'm not networking as well.
hmm. How come?
Maybe it might have something to do with I don't know anybody.
Social media,
Yeah, I just
threads all day long. Threads. 24/7.
So I'm not so I'm finding like the networking that I did back home I can't do here.
Right. It's a big
So
I
I
guess it's a bigger pond.
Yeah, it
More
is a
fish, right?
huge
More fish.
yeah, there's more fish and there's other photographers who have other creative um
Yeah.
so I'm just, so if anybody has any suggestions,
Yeah. It's
I'm
yeah,
always open.
marketing is such a different beast, because like where do you go, right? It's like, like you said at the start, like you don't like talking about yourself, but in marketing you do have to talk about yourself. It's like, oh, it's you know.
And what's so funny is when so I took photos of Madison and um the girls at the club. I had actual escorts hit
Yeah.
me up for photos.
Right.
And then they would go on these escort websites and recommend me.
Yeah, see?
So I would
It's
pop up
crazy.
on these websites
It's
and
like that's my photo.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, I don't know how I like, and it's very so I've had some fun experiences. Um, I got to meet guy who was into S&M.
Right.
He wanted photos.
In
He
his
was
gear.
yeah, no, no, not in his gear. He just wanted photos of him in his boxer shorts,
Right.
and he was so good looking.
Was it?
Oh yeah, and but he was a very interesting character because he had you know, this lifestyle, but he was highly educated
Mhm.
and he agreed the same way that I would, you know. He was totally okay with my contract, never had a problem.
Right.
And when most people think of sex workers or, whatever falls in that umbrella,
Yeah.
they don't think of that, right?
Yeah.
Because they think that they're dealing with somebody on drugs.
Right. It's very stereotypical, eh?
Yeah. Um, so I kind of my world got a little bit shook
Yeah.
in the very beginning when I started working with these women.
Yeah.
I actually learned a lot. I learned a lot about people
Yeah.
because they know, right? They know who has money and who doesn't. It's to shop, right?
You mean
Um,
for their business? Or
yeah.
doing yeah.
So I'll use a stripper for example. Strippers know who has money and who doesn't. They know. They just
Oh,
know.
when the guys are at the strip club, they know who to go
Oh yeah.
after? Yeah.
Oh yeah. They
How
know.
do they know? Just by what they're drinking or what they're wearing or
Or just body language.
body language?
Yep.
A
Um,
confidence thing?
confidence thing.
Yeah.
They also know who's gonna cause trouble.
Ah,
And the longer so I'm probably gonna be giving away a secret, so I
yeah.
apologize. But
Okay.
and I'm not saying that this happens at all the strip clubs. I'm just saying that it happens at the one that I did the
Yeah.
cotton club back home.
Right.
So the stripper that has been working the longest, that is working that night, she will
Yeah.
actually walk around the bar
Yeah.
and she'll look at all the guys.
Mhm.
Okay. And
Mhm.
then she'll go up to security and she'll say, look, look at that one and like watch that one and watch that one. Because she just knows, right?
Right.
So so learning those um body cues, like those kind of
Right. So you kind of learn that from
yeah,
her and you apply it to your own business.
and I applied to my own business and I
Interesting.
applied it into how I'm talking to people and how I interact, right?
Crazy, eh?
Um
It's
it's
great. I love it. Love it.
yeah.
It's educational.
Oh, it's extremely educational. That's
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
tell. every new photographer who wants to get into boudoir, find a stripper. Don't care how you do it,
Mhm.
find one
Right.
and have an open mind. You might have to pay them, I don't know,
Right. Sure.
but have an open mind because you can learn things about posing.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, these women go to work to make men want them,
Yeah.
right? It's. I could talk about this for hours.
Crazy. I'm sure you have stories. I'm sure
Oh,
you got some stories there, but you know, it's a family show. What can I say? I
yeah, yeah,
still want that sponsorship from Canon, so we gotta keep this a family show. But it's great. Like, I mean, it's just like again, like you never know where you're gonna find the opportunity. And if you really want to, for people that want to get into boudoir, it's like, yeah, you do need to take the initiative and approach people about what you're trying to do. Like, probably the easier way to do it is to find, like you said, find an established boudoir photographer in your area to team up, and they can teach you and network. And
yep,
it's more of like a softer way in, or you can take the harder way and try to ask a stripper or someone in that industry.
yep,
Depends on like your personality, right? Depends on you as a person and how you talk to people and how you interact, and
yep.
you know,
I also recommend for newer boudoir photographers to find somebody who make sure that they're established. Make sure that they they're not new as well.
right? Yeah, you can't have two new people at the same. Doesn't work. Yeah,
No, because I find when you hit a certain level,
yeah,
you don't care. Like you don't I like for example, Paul, if you decided tomorrow you were like, well, I'm not sure what you do, what you shoot, but say for example, you were like, Amy, I'm gonna go take photos of OnlyFans models. And
yeah.
that's what you decide to do tomorrow.
Right.
I don't care. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my clients will always be my clients
Right.
because they like me,
Sure.
right?
It's a per.
And
It's like a people thing. People always buy from people.
yep. Or
Always.
or I'm not concerned about and if for some reason if somebody likes your style over my style, cool. Have fun. Live your best
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
My I that it doesn't mean that I will stop taking photos,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
I stand behind my art.
Yeah. It's art, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I like
And
that.
I
I like that.
so make sure it's somebody who's not gonna feel threatened.
Yeah. It's not a good place to be.
It's not because
In
I'm
any
no
kind of way of life.
no because I'm noticing a lot on threads about like people talking about money
Yeah.
and why are these people charging this much and this
Mhm.
that and the other thing and it's like why do you care?
Mm.
Focus on yourself. If you
Yeah.
want to make $5,000 a session, sit down and figure out how you can do that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because um,
Because it's easy to look at other people. That's why. It's easy to compare versus like looking at yourself. Like it's always been easier that way. But it's the people that actually like just work and just focus on their own race that like win in the end because again, like you said, it comes down to confidence in like your skills and your abilities and like how you're gonna like start the business and keep the business and grow the business and all these things that go into it. It's like it's a different kind of person, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of breed of people where
yep,
they just kind of like focus on them and that's it.
yep.
You
Um,
know?
and like the other thing too is when you are new as a boudoir photographer, I'm going to bring this up because I think it's
Yeah,
an important conversation to have.
sure.
Um, you have to look at the legality of it. So, for
Hmm.
example, my contract, I don't work with anybody under the age of 19,
Right.
and I'm very firm about that
Hmm.
because so because you can get yourself into a bit of a pickle, and I'm not going to get into it because it's a family show. But if you're an adult and you're reading between the lines, you will
Yeah,
understand.
of course.
So make sure when you decide to do this that you look at the legal side of it too.
Yeah.
It's
And what is
okay.
that, like, research on the internet? Like, like, how do you do
Well,
that?
you can research on the internet. There is a lot of free legal advice.
Yeah.
Um, like the Law Tog is a really, really amazing resource. There's another legal resource that I'm always shouting out on threads because they're really, really cool.
Mhm.
Hang on.
We love the law on this show.
Yeah. I'm so it's so funny that you bring it up
Yeah,
because because of what I do, I have to be up on it,
of course, yeah.
right? Because it constantly changes. And oh, the other thing too is me and Adobe are gonna um
You don't like Adobe right
okay.
now?
Um Me and Adobe are never friends.
Mm.
The other legal resource is Counsel for Creators.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're kind of new. They're
Yeah.
yeah, but they're very similar to the law talk. And
Yeah.
yeah, I really like what they've been posting because they post um a lot of really cool legal information that photographers or creatives in general. So they talk about copyright and they talk
The
about
these guys?
yeah, yeah, if you follow them on threads, they post a lot on threads, like just information about like what you need to know about um yeah,
Oh,
if you just look
yeah?
them up. Yeah, if you just look them up on threads, they always talk about contracts and copyright.
Really? Did not I
Yeah.
haven't seen them on Threads, so I have to look into that.
I came across them one day. Like I just it kind of they just showed up and I was like, "Ooh." So, um David, I actually don't film my Boudoir sessions because
Right.
it's a privacy issue. And
Mhm.
that is and you know what? That's the other thing I'm going to bring up. Privacy.
Privacy.
So, Boudoir photographers, especially new ones, if your client tells you, even though they've signed a model release, because I have model
Sure,
releases,
of course.
even if they sign a model release and
Mhm.
they come to you and they tell you to take the photo down, take it down. Don't argue with them. Don't fight with them.
Mhm.
Just take it down
Right.
because there is actually I forget the specific law, but there's actually um it's kind of it's similar. It's like an intimacy law,
Okay.
and somebody can actually go to the court and order you to take it down.
Uh, it's
Similar
intense.
to yeah. So instead of having to deal with that,
Just take it down.
just take it down. Um, the other thing too is when I edit my boudoir photos, I don't edit them online.
Okay. What do you
Everything,
mean by
all my
that?
like so if I'm editing a boudoir session,
Yeah.
I'm completely offline. So my photos don't go in the cloud.
Ah, I
They
understand. So if you're in Photoshop, it doesn't go to the cloud or whatever.
Mhm. I'm completely
Ah,
disconnected. And I
really? Hey, so you turn the Wi-Fi off and everything?
yep,
Wow.
because that is but see, that's something that I offer my client. I go, "Hey, I'm going to protect you because this is what I do."
Wow.
right? So, and if
Uh,
my client, so I always ask permission if my client would like a digital gallery, like an online gallery,
sure.
or if they don't, I will put the photos on USB.
Yeah.
And
You're not sending them via like we transfer or any kind of like sharing. It's always
no,
on external, eh?
always on like yeah, unless they're comfortable with me using a digital gallery, because sometimes like
Yeah.
Natasha doesn't care. Um, like the people that I post on social media, they don't care.
Right, right.
Um, yeah,
I did not think about that going offline. I did not think about that.
yeah, because some of the clients that I work with, they could be doctors, they could be nurses, they
Yeah.
could be teachers,
Right.
lawyers,
Right. Right.
in those positions in those positions. Like,
Right.
imagine being a grade 6 teacher
Yeah.
and a kid finds those photos.
Yikes.
Yeah. Right? So
Yeah.
I
Sure.
yeah. So I just so that's something that I offer my clients. Um that's why you find people to take photos of,
Hmm.
right? You find somebody who's comfortable and
It
you
makes
make
such a
sure
difference. Yeah, it makes a difference. Huge difference. And the
yes.
whole experience of it, right?
hmm So even though my photos on my Instagram are repeat people and
Yeah.
but there's a reason for that because they're comfortable.
And they've given the permission that you can do that.
Yep.
So some people don't give you the permission?
hmm And I'm okay with it,
Yeah.
right? Because because I respect them.
Yeah. Of course.
Um, the other thing too in saying that is, I really don't like this new. It's not with everybody, but this new idea that if you're doing a session, that person can't bring a friend with them.
Hmm.
Every Get over it. If you're a boudoir photographer, get over it. If they want to bring somebody with them as a client, they can
Yeah.
because
Why
they're
some people
doing
don't let them? Some people don't let a friend come? It's weird.
yeah, some people yeah, and it's kind of icky to be
Yeah, it's a
honest.
little weird. It's like kind of like a red flag a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like and if you're worried about that person being in the way, get them to hold a light.
Yeah. Work.
Work, yeah. And say to your client, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, you can bring a friend with you, but do you mind if they hold like a reflector or a light or get them involved in the posing, right? Especially if it's a boyfriend.
Of course. Have
Say,
some fun with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Because everything is about making that client feel safe.
Yeah, of course. That's a red flag if they're not gonna let them bring a friend. Like, geez, what's the big deal?
I've seen it pop up on threads, and I was like,
Yeah. Do you chime in and say red flag or
yeah, I do. I'm like,
yeah?
That's not really a hill you wanna die on there, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you're going out in the middle of the woods with somebody,
Yeah, especially if it's your first time meeting this person, like, geez, I would probably want to bring a friend with me.
yeah,
I would want to bring David with me, to be honest with you. I'd be stuck at the model anything if it's filmed, there no problems. I don't
um,
there no. Oh, for the
yeah,
video, you mean?
yeah. So I don't work with models um who I'm worried about.
Yeah. It's
Like
a
if they
trust thing,
give
right?
me,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
and it's okay to research them.
Yeah, do a
It's a
little Google search.
yeah.
Do a little
Ask
Instagram search.
Yeah, or ask your colleagues, like ask your
Yeah.
photographer buddies,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Ask for references. Like just, hey,
Yeah,
can I talk to your past couple of models that you work with? Just ask
yeah.
for references and just say, hey,
Or
what's up?
and the same thing goes for us as photographers. It's
Yeah.
okay. to say to the model, hey, I'm paying you this, like, I don't know how much. We'll say $200. I'm paying you this $200.
Yeah.
I need to know if you're going to show up,
Yeah, that's another thing.
right? Like
Yeah.
this, like, and I think as like we as photographers, like, listen, if you don't want to play ball with me, find somebody else,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Sure.
I just it took me a little bit to get there, to get to that place, to be able to
Yeah,
be like, no. But I got
sure.
burned.
Oh, you did, eh?
I did. I got burned.
Sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. I
Bad?
no, no. I what I can tell you what happened, so it doesn't matter. Um this this model, and we're gonna use this word lightly.
Yeah.
Um she did a couple of things. She announced to her and her partner were breaking up,
Mhm.
and her partner told all the photographers in the community, because people don't realize we all talk to each other.
Mhm.
So the partner told one photographer in this community that the ex would never pay any of us for our work.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept that in the back of my head. I
Sure,
was like,
sure.
yes, it is coming from a place of this person is going through something right now.
Yeah.
But it's a good nug of information,
Yeah, it is, right?
right? And then but the next thing that happened was so I did these photos, and one of my photos ended up on Spotify
Oh,
under
yeah?
her account. Oh yes.
Oh, yeah?
And that's commercial licensing.
Jeez.
So what did I do? I didn't go to her. I went to Spotify.
Oh, yeah?
And oh yeah, and
And
I
what'd
said, "Hi, Spotify. This is my photo that I took on da 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 date. This person is using my, you know, my image."
Yeah.
And as a photographer, I stood up for myself, and Spotify took it
Were they
down.
quick? Were they quick to do it?
Um, yeah, they were pretty like what I consider quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took it down.
What'd you do? Just press the contact Spotify link
Yep,
and send an email? Like, what'd you
yep.
do? Huh.
I just hit the contact Spotify, and I just sent a very
Wow.
well worded email, and I explained to them like who the account
Wow.
was, that I had
Wow.
the original image when I took
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah. Crazy, crazy,
because
crazy.
because people don't realize every photo that you take has your metadata in it. So you
Sure.
can always prove that it's your photo
Yeah.
because it comes from your camera.
Yeah.
So speak up, man. Like,
Speak up.
speak
Stand
up.
up.
Don't
Stand
leave.
up. I see it all the
Don't.
time. I see people's photos get stolen all the time. I see it on threads. Big brands take people's photos and they use it for their own commercial work. And meanwhile, it's like,
Oh,
I didn't get paid for that. I didn't get
that
content. See it all
when
the time.
when I see stuff like that,
It's
like it doesn't
crazy.
matter. It doesn't matter if it's a big brand or if it's another
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
Drives me
It's
mental.
insane, eh?
So I'm of the belief that as a community, we have to stand up for each other as a community.
Yeah. How do we do that though?
Well, if you see somebody's photo being stolen and you know that it belongs to somebody else,
Right.
you fucking say something.
Mm.
Excuse my
You
language.
tell the person.
Yeah,
Or
you
like the
tell them.
photographer. Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, hey, you know what? I saw this photo being posted by da 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 da.
Right.
I'm not sure what you want to do with it, but
Just FYI.
FYI.
Yeah.
And I find when you put that energy out into the universe,
Mhm.
it comes back
Mm.
because
Karma.
you're standing up for the community, right?
Stand up. Stand up, everybody.
Mhm.
Happens a
Oh,
lot of time. It's crazy. It's
mhm.
insane.
Also, I'm also going to say this to any new boudoir photographer out there.
Yeah.
If you send me a message and you have a question,
Yeah.
I'll answer it. I may not get to you right away, but don't don't don't
Don't be
be
shy.
don't be shy because
Ask Amy.
yeah, you can just ask me. I have absolutely no problem answering questions because
Yeah.
I
You love it.
it's yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a way for me to learn too,
Of
right?
course.
Because I have to, depending on what the question is, I have to think about it.
Yeah, because sometimes we're just an autopilot, you know? It's kinda like, driving the car, you just kinda drive the car, but when you actually have to teach someone how to drive a car, you have to think about the whole process, right? It's the same kinda concept. So, "Oh, let me break this down for you. Hang on."
Yeah, like
You know?
uh, so they're one of my favorite photographers of all time.
Yeah.
He's my like holy grail of photographers. His name is Joe McNally.
Oh, I know Joe. Not personally, but I know Joe.
And Joe, I watch anything that Joe does. Like I the man is the complete opposite of what I do, but I just love him so much. Um, because I really like basketball, so he did this famous photo of Vince Carter.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Um,
Trying to find him.
but Joe has this. I was recently watching his live stream from I think it was from last year. Yeah, it was I think it was last year. It's actually see that girl, that photo of the girl with the hat. He was actually showing that photo, and he was talking about light.
Mhm.
And one of the things that he was talking about in the video was how he loves talking to new photographers because he
Yeah.
can learn things from them.
Interesting, eh?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is if this guy, who by the way, if you don't know who Joe McNally is,
Yeah.
Google him.
Google him.
Yes,
Shout out Joe.
Google him because he is the goat. Um,
Shout out Joe.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Joe.
Hey, Joe, if you're
That's
watching, listening, you're the GOAT.
he is the goat. So I think if he can feel comfortable talking to new photographers and getting information and answering questions, then all of us can. If you want to look up another
Yeah.
male, if you want to look
Sure.
up a male boudoir
Yeah,
photographer,
yeah, give me the name.
his name is Robin.
Robin?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, he is from him. His Instagram name is Photos by Robin.
Okay. Robin
He,
Spencer?
Robert Collins, actually.
Photos
His
by
literally his Instagram name is photos dot by Robin.
uh,
I can send it.
Robin. I don't Robin Spencer.
I'll
Got
send
him.
you. I
Send me
can
the
send
link.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Photos by
I can post it.
you can put in the there's a private chat.
Yeah, I just sent it. Um,
Private chat. All right. Robin Collier.
yeah. So he is a male boudoir photographer. Um, yeah. He's currently.
Jeez.
Oh
Canadian,
yeah.
eh?
He's
Ottawa?
yeah. So he's in Ottawa.
Yeah.
But he's originally from Beta Spear in Newfoundland.
Shout out Beta Spear.
Yeah. And
Jeez.
he's another icon of mine. I love his work.
Mm.
As you can tell, and his subjects are very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Robin is a good guy, and I've sent him. I've asked him questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
Why not?
yeah.
Why not?
Um, but yeah, I do. As a male, it is possible to get into boudoir,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Um, so you just, yeah,
There's just a way to do it.
there's a right way and there's a wrong way,
Yeah,
and
there's a way to do it.
as as long as you don't get stuck with the label of guy with camera,
Yeah.
um, and that goes back to preparation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Another thing too, if for some reason you can't find a boudoir photographer in your neighborhood or
Right.
somebody that you like, find a female photographer.
Mm.
Could be a portrait photographer.
Hmm.
Um, Become friends with them and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do, right? Kind of humble yourself and fall on your sword and say to the female photographer, this is what I'd like to do. I'm not sure, I can't find anybody to model for me. Do you know of anybody? Can you
Right.
recommend
Yeah.
anybody?
Well, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, right? Because you're going to like, and that portrait photographer might be able to connect you, right?
You just never know until you ask. That's what I mean. Like you can't for people that want to get into this or any other kind of like
Mhm.
photography and you don't know anyone, you need to really kind of put yourself out there and just start reaching out and just
Yep. And you
because
can't,
more times they're gonna help you than not.
yep.
More times than not, they'll help you.
I think the only reason why somebody wouldn't help you is if you're a dick,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Our like one of the I wish I knew it sooner, but one of my huge mistakes that I made when I was a new photographer
Mhm.
was I didn't listen to the people who've been around for a while.
Mm. How come?
I because I was new and I was dumb and I yeah no I listen mistakes oh sweetheart
Yeah.
I have done it.
You made it. You made
Uh,
them all, eh?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I always think you need to make the mistake though to really learn from it.
that is true.
You
And
really
I
need to
don't.
make it to get the experience, you know?
That is very yeah, yeah.
Because you can think about it, you can read about it, you can see it online, but until you actually go through it, then it really hits home because then you actually feel the pain.
Yeah.
You actually feel that pain.
One of the mistakes that I made was I lost somebody's photos.
Oh, that's tough. Why, you lost the card?
No, I didn't lose the card. The SD card that I was using, I think what happened was it became
Oh,
corrupted, and I
yeah.
didn't back it up. So
Ah.
back
Oh,
up your stuff
twice, 3 times,
3 times.
but not in the cloud.
Not on the cloud. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have um yeah, like I have hard drives, like physical hard drives. I just go to
Yeah.
Best Buy. Shout out to Best Buy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I always whenever I get home from something, I always dump footage and back it up because I never trust the card.
No.
So,
I learned my lesson.
so
So
what'd you
what
do with the client?
I had to refund them.
Yeah, I guess you have to, eh?
Yep. I
Just
had to
gotta be
refund
honest
them.
and say this is what happened.
Yep. And
Were they
trust me,
mad?
they were not happy. And I ate crow. Like because these older photographers were telling me, back up your stuff, right?
Yeah,
Don't
you
be
gotta make 'em
taking money until you back up your stuff,
oh, yeah, 100%.
right? So,
100%.
um, yeah, that's so now so what um, the way I use a Mac. So if I'm doing any, like if I'm doing a boudoir session, I go offline I
Yeah.
put my SD card into the reader,
Yeah.
but automation on Macs, for all of you who don't use a Mac, automation is just a way you basically you can pre-tell it to do something, and
Mhm.
then when you do something, it does it.
Mhm.
So I use automation, and it just duplicates the SD card for me.
Easy.
Yeah.
It saves a lot of pain. What are you gonna do? It happens, right?
Well, yeah. And I'm kind of glad that it happened way back
Right at the start.
because
Yeah.
yes.
Of course. It's always easier when you make the mistakes at the beginning.
Mhm. The other big mistake that I
Yeah.
see young boudoir photographers do
Yeah.
is, so when you're starting off, you don't have access to a studio.
Right.
So you're going to use a hotel room.
Mhm.
Please, for the love of everything that is good,
Mhm.
do not put in the photos that you're at a hotel, like what hotel you're at.
Oh, people do that?
Oh my God, yes. They
Oh.
tag, they're like, I'm at da 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 da. And then they wonder why the hotel is emailing them.
Yeah.
Because some, like for example, you said to me, this is a family podcast, right?
Mhm.
Some hotels, they have they're family friendly, and they don't want their hotel to be tagged in those images.
Yeah, because then people are gonna think, "Oh, this is a sex hotel or something," right?
Hmm. So,
It's one of those BDSM hotels out there.
well, there's some weird people out there, let me tell you,
It's one of those swinger hotels, ain't it? It's one of those swinger hotels.
right? Like there's books are getting banned and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
so
a good
yeah,
point. Don't
yeah,
tag don't tag the hotel kids. Keep it generic. Keep it
yeah.
Planet
Like,
Love or something. I don't know.
or like just don't have anything that in the photo that says what hotel you're at,
Yeah.
right?
People love tagging the location. People like to be seen too, right? So it might be an ego thing too.
It might be. I like the mystery of it, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. You don't know where this was.
Yeah, you didn't know where it
We
was.
only know where this was. Yeah, I like the mystery element too.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Another piece of advice, if you're going to use an Airbnb for the photos,
yeah,
talk to the owner of the Airbnb.
yeah.
Because I find when you have that conversation and you say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do,"
Right.
um, then they don't ask questions. Why is there so much traffic at my Airbnb? Right? Or sometimes, like for example, I had um, right before I left St. John's, I did a session in an Airbnb, and I actually did a session with Grace. She's on my Instagram.
Mhm.
In that same Airbnb, because the
Yeah.
owner of the Airbnb was so understanding,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
The owner waived the cleaning fee for me.
Wow. How come?
Yeah, and yeah, so so shout out to her, and then the other Airbnb that I used, um, Victoria Street. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
because I took the initiative and I asked the owners,
Right.
they gave me, so the house that I was using cost about $1,000 a night.
Yeah. Must be a nice house.
It was a very nice
Yeah.
house, and it had a hot tub.
Inside?
Go outside. But no, the house was
Nice, eh?
gorgeous.
Yeah.
But the owners of it actually gave me a discount on the fee to use the house
Yeah.
because I approached them
Right.
and I said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And we're still friends to this day. Like if
Nice.
I go back to St. John's, they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, Amy. What do you need?"
Well, like, it pays to be upfront, right? And be open to
Yep,
what you're actually doing instead of trying to hide it.
yep.
That might come
Don't
back to
like
bite ya.
It will. Like, don't be
Yeah.
sneaky.
Yeah, don't be sneaky. Because that just makes it look weird.
It does,
Just
right?
makes
Like,
it just
what do
look
you mean
weird.
I can't tell people that, like, what do you mean you can't tell me the address of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of that, that's the other thing that new boudoir photographers don't do.
Mhm.
They're not upfront. They don't
Mhm.
say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Right. Ask them how they feel about it. Sure. Of course. It's a
Right?
confidence thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like taking the lead. Like you kind of take the lead, right? It's like, well, this is what I envision and confidence, communication, like, all that stuff. It plays into it, the whole thing.
It does. When I set up my session
Yeah.
for the seminar on Sunday that I'm gonna do, um, the 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 model that I picked, she wanted to work with me,
Yeah.
and which is really cool because she's a really really cool person. But she she agreed to it right from the get go
Nice.
because of how I approached her,
Yeah. Of course.
right?
It's an
And
energy thing, vibe.
yep, because I was just like, this is what I want to do,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
exactly. Like, I mean, I think that people sense that you're honest. I mean, people in general, if you're talking to someone and they trust you and they believe in what you're saying, then yeah, of course they're going to be on board. Like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
Don't be the
Just
creepy person in the corner.
yeah, don't be the creepy guy in the corner with the camera. Like,
Yeah, it's like
don't
what?
do that.
Yeah,
Um, there is a really, really amazing boudoir educator named Michael Sasser.
Michael Sasser. Okay.
Yes, and he's based in LA.
Okay.
So take take like some of the stuff. You're just like, okay, Michael, you live by the beach. Like,
Yeah.
it's 30 plus degrees there. I live in Canada.
Right.
Um, but he's got some pretty good, you know, everything that I've been talking about. He brings up, but he talks about a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Another really good boudoir photographer is Seeley.
Hmm.
He does more fitness stuff.
Okay.
But he's a really solid guy. I like talking to him.
Cool. It seems that you're very well connected with different kinds of people, right? Which is good.
Well, it's a process, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to do this. How do I?
Yeah. How do I do it? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Of
right.
course.
Um, so like I have shout out to Adam. His
Okay.
name is just his Instagram name is just Adam Scott.
Okay.
He's a wonderful, wonderful, amazing male boudoir photographer. He is so every photographer, no matter what genre you're doing, boudoir, whatever, you need to have somebody who will take you by the hand
Yeah.
and say, what are you doing?
Right.
You need to have that person who's going to critique you.
Yeah. You need the honest feedback.
You do.
Tough to
You
find.
need,
Tough to find.
yes. Adam is my dude.
Shout out Adam.
Yes.
Keep
He's the guy that I will go to and I'll be like, hey,
right.
what do you think about this?
He'll say yay or nay.
Constructive criticism is so important.
Yeah. Tough to find though. Like
It
true constructive criticism.
Yep. Because sometimes we over edit,
Yeah.
skin,
Yeah. Sure, all
like,
that stuff.
nobody wants to look like a Barbie.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes, our white balance could be off, or sometimes the pose might not work,
Right.
right? You just
Yeah.
gotta. You gotta find your.
You need the person to, yeah, it's tough to find, but if you do find that person, yeah, definitely keep that person close because
Mhm.
it's easy to fall in love with their own work,
Yeah, because well,
when you don't know.
I love my work.
Of course, we all do.
It's,
It's our
uh,
babies, right? Like, what do you? I mean, we're kind of up against the hour, but I mean, what do you want your work to be known for? Like, is there something you want your work to be known for? Like,
I
is there something kind of
don't
like your like
know.
North Star? You have a North Star with your
I
work,
just I just want people to know that I'm all about them, and I
right?
just enjoy it.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why people come. That's why people go to you, right?
Hmm.
It's about you, not me.
Exactly. It is. I'm the one who looks like the schlub. I'm the one who's wearing all black.
Right,
It's
right.
not about me. It's about
No,
you.
it's awesome. Love it. It's probably a good way to end off. So I just want to say thanks, Amy, for coming on.
Oh, you're very
Love to have you
welcome.
back on at some point.
Absolutely.
Good luck with your seminar, by the way, your workshop there.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Thank you. I'm kind of excited. It's the first one.
Is the first
So,
one?
yes.
Cool. Well, I'm sure it'll go well.
And thank you for having me.
My
And
pleasure.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on. We'll talk about some other stuff. I think we just kind of like got to the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There's all
Um,
this other stuff going on too, right? Which I think is fascinating.
yeah, we like I said, I can talk about this for hours.
Love it.
Um, but yeah.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thanks, Amy. Everyone, thanks for watching, listening. Amy's links are in the description of this podcast, and we shall see you next time.
Yeah.
Peace.